Oh my, yes, 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 yes. And he's AKA Mama G here, back once again as the co-creator, along with, as I always say, the prime creator of Fiercely Fulfilled Feminine, where I help starseeds to heal sexual trauma, reclaim their power, and experience true fulfillment through what I call the Sacred Sexuality Reclamation Method. Now, today's topic is about the power of the throat and helping to heal sexual trauma. So I am going to focus on the connection between the throat and the sacral chakra, your sex center. I'm going to speak about the vagus nerve and the vagal tone and what that's all about and what that has to do with your sacred sexuality and your overall health and mental well-being, especially. I'm going to talk about how sexual trauma can show up related to the throat. Okay. And then, of course, what you can do to begin to really work with that throat chakra, really work with the energies that are arriving on the planet right now with throat chakra upgrades. By the way, think 5D. Yes, 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 indeed. And then I have a number of offers, literally most of them free, just to help you along your journey. And that includes the second book that I wrote. I think I wrote that in 2016. I can't quite remember. I'm looking back at it and I'm like, wow, it is so applicable. Now, I thought maybe it was just chapter 4, but the whole book. So I got a free PDF as an offer for you. I'm going to throw that link in along with another beautiful bunch of goodies for you. So stay tuned. I'll share that. They'll also be in the description here. So let's get right to it. Let's get right to it. Ooh, 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 ooh. You want to heal that sexual trauma. You want to get it going in that sex center in a healthy, of course, divine balanced way, as I say. So, first of all, okay, let's look at the connection. Throat chakra, second chakra. That's the second main chakra in your body. This is the fifth main chakra in your body. And each chakra, just like everything in existence, has a specific tone, a specific vibrational frequency that is associated with that chakra. And if you know anything about sound, okay, now I make music, so I know that there's something known as harmonics, sounds within sounds. And so even though that the throat chakra has its own frequency and the sacral chakra has its own frequency, they share harmonics. So there is a resonance with each other. So obviously everything is connected. It's all an ecosystem. However, there is a particular connection between the sacral, your sex center again, and your throat. So the sacral chakra is the center of creativity, among other things. That is where creativity is born. However, that creativity needs to be expressed in some way. So it is the throat that helps you to express that creativity. And obviously, it can be expressed in a number of different ways: art, singing, song, chanting, vocal play, as my sister calls it. And I forget the other woman's name of Canto Energético, but, anyways, all different ways, humming through the throat, okay? Silent sounds and humming and intentions and affirmations are all beautiful ways to be able to stimulate that throat chakra. And so it needs expression, okay? And what we speak life into is the expression of that which we are either creating or choose to create. So there's a powerful connection there. And I want to make sure I got it all. By the way, as well, the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. It starts at the brainstem, and it really doesn't have an endpoint because it really just literally just has this huge network where it connects with every single one of the major internal organs. So it's a very powerful nerve, okay? And like I said, it's going right, from the base of the stem, from that throat chakra, right down through the lungs, the heart, the stomach, the intestines, all of it, okay, right into to all those other areas, okay? Obviously, the lower abdomen is a part of the sacral chakra. So good stuff. Ever hear of the brain gut axis? That's the vagus nerve. That's what they're talking about, which is why gut health is so important, which is why healing sexual trauma and healing the throat chakra related to that is so important for digestive health. Okay, so we'll get all that goody goodness in just a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Where am I? Where am I? Oh, I would like to quickly call in Nefertiti, Egyptian goddess, high priestess, okay, who is a goddess of sound and sacred sexuality. And she actually has been coming in quite a bit, very powerfully for me. And because I am on a high priestess path, the left hand path. And I just found it interesting that she, she's not, obviously it's all connected, goddess of fertility, goddess of this, yet she is the goddess of both sound and sacred sexuality because there is such a powerful connection with those two. So I love that she's come in so strongly for me today and that I've been guided to actually get to this topic today. So let's see if I've mentioned everything. The vagal tone. Let's talk about the vagal tone. The vagus nerve has what is known as a vagal tone. Tone is sound and it is a frequency. Of course, the higher the frequency, the more of the ability of the vagus nerve to kind of be able to communicate and to connect to all of those organs. And the vagus nerve oversees the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that system which regulates, for example, digestion, heart rate, respiratory rate, and of course, sexual arousal, because you need to be calm in order to actually be sexually aroused. So a lot of stress is not really conducive to being sexually aroused. So all really important. And it also actually, and I want to mention this because we are talking about the sex center, is that the vagus nerve is also responsible for stimulating the connection and communication between the brain and all of those bodies that are the organs that are associated and glands as well associated with sexual activity in the physiological aspect, hormonal aspect, all of it. So vagus nerve is a big one, really, really important. Okay. In fact, when it's lower in tone, when you are experiencing chronic stress, which unfortunately is a very common echo of any kind of trauma, especially sexual trauma, then you can experience a lot of physiological challenges, illnesses, diseases, conditions, mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, all of it. Any mental challenge is all related. Asthma, autoimmune disease, heart disease, cancer. Yeah, let's just get to all of it. Essentially any bodily challenge is a result of chronic stress, which is due to typically unhealed trauma, unhealed grief, a trauma that has put you into overdrive or your nervous system into overdrive because you're still on some level in that flight freeze. What's the other one? Take off. I don't remember. Put it in there for me because there's so many more right now that have been shared. It's kind of something that you may not or may be consciously aware of. Okay, so if you're experiencing anxiety and depression and any host of physical challenges, then it's truly going to affect that vagal tone. It's going to affect the ability of you to be able to share your authentic voice, to express your creativity, to actually to create in the way that you have the potential to create, and of course how that all gets connected. Now, I'm going to share very quickly that I have experienced the anxiety, depression, like debilitating depression, extreme anxiety, OCD, suicidal ideation, self-harm, you name it, all of it, autoimmune. I couldn't walk 15 years ago. And now I'm dancing in a crouch and a squat and doing all that, and I'm sharing my authentic voice. I used to experience laryngitis for weeks at a time where I would lose my voice. A lot of challenges here with the chest. So there was a lot, a lot that I was experiencing as a result of chronic stress, as a result of the increased levels of a baseline of cortisol in particular, due to my own sexual trauma. Okay, so I just want to share that I've been there. I get it. Do I still at times experience, moments of anxiety and even moments of where I might feel the feeling of depression? Yes, but I believe it's shadow work and I have a different level of awareness. So I don't make it permanent. I don't identify with it. Okay, so that's a little bit of an aside. So let's see. Okay, I mentioned that. Why is the vagus nerve so important? Well, I'm moving along here. I feel phenomenal. Wow. So if the vagus nerve oversees, and again, remember, it's coming from the brainstem, coming from the throat, all the way down throughout the whole system, is it's if it's responsible for regulating, for example, heart rate and digestion and your respiratory rate, and you're under chronic stress due to trauma, trapped emotions and pain, that's going to affect the vagal nerve being able to function in the way it needs to. Now, remember that what nerves do, their function is to help the communication between the brain and your body so that your body can function hopefully at its optimal level. However, stress interferes, and it's almost like there's a choppy communication, like a bad Wi-Fi network. And so your organs are not going to function optimally because they're not getting the message, they're not getting clear communication, they're not really sure how they need to respond, whether they need to turn on or turn off, because that's part of what the vagal nerve does. It helps to turn off and turn on certain responses within the organs and the glands. And it's known as the power lever, as described by James Nestor in a book called Breath. Powerful book, by the way. So obviously that's going to lead to a host of illnesses, and diabetes is in there too. I know that they mentioned that. Basically, any illness, any condition is going to be connected to that. Okay. And I just want to add that oftentimes, for example, if you've experienced the trauma in, a sexual trauma, you'll have fibroids show up. You'll have fertility challenges. If there's a choppy communication between the throat and the sacral chakra, you could have spinal injuries or accidents which bring about that. Issues with the neck. So it's all connected. Trust me. The great news, it is all can be healed and even cured. Okay, so it's just getting back the health of that vagal nerve and the overall health of the bodily system. Except yet right now we're focusing on the throat chakra. Remember, a lot of people say we are ascending to 5D consciousness. 5D, that's the throat chakra. Okay, so our authentic voice and our expression of our creativity is so critically important. Remember, okay, is we express through the throat. There's no, that's not what I wanted to say. I already said that. Life is about creation. We're either disintegrating, we're dying, or we're creating. And the throat is part of the way that we express and speak life into our creation, because creation is joy, it's expansion, it's evolution. That's why we're here. Okay, so let's see. Wow, I'm doing well here. So, how can you stimulate, influence, improve what is called the vagal tone, which in turn is going to help you to improve the connection between the throat and the sacral chakra, which is going to improve the balance and your ability to create from the sacral chakra in whatever way that looks for you, to enjoy pleasure in life through all of the senses, to create, to have fun, to feel lighthearted, to experience human connection and increase sensuality and confidence and your sexuality and expressing that. And then your authentic voice and the ability to create in the way that you have the potential to do. So what can we do with that? Well, conscious breathing. Conscious breathing. If you've worked with me at all or interacted at all, you know that I'm big on the breath. And I was trained in yoga years ago, and we talked a lot about the breath and breathing and different types of breathing techniques. And in fact, I used to have a deck of cards that focused just on different breathing techniques. And I would share a different one every time I taught based on the energy and what I was tapping into. So conscious breathing, and I call it conscious because you're aware of how the breath functions and what different breathing techniques do for you in your body. So breathing in general allows you to be able to typically access the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that part of the nervous system which allows you to calm and to center, to anchor and to ground, to relax, to come back into your body. And when you are grounded and relaxed, you are more present. And I say this again and again, you aren't painfully focusing on the past, and you're not needlessly worrying about the future. So you're calm, and when you're calm, your body functions better. Everything functions better. You experience more overall well-being and inner peace and happiness. And that's ultimately what I believe we all desire. So the conscious breathing allows you to do that. And there's a lot more about the breath. I could go into a lot more depth, but I'm not going to do that now. My sister, by the way, of Sacred Soul Activations, specializes in the breath. Okay, so you may want to check her out, by the way. Also, excuse me, chanting, singing, chanting, playing with the voice, vocal play. I know my sister again does light language. Okay, I'm a singer-songwriter. Okay, you don't have to be a singer-songwriter to use your voice and play with your voice. You don't have to have, quote unquote, the best voice. You just use your voice and the joy of making sound and singing along and humming, even gargling, believe it or not, is a way to stimulate your vagal nerve and to increase the vagal tone. And here's the deal: sound literally clears the energy. It cleanses the energy. I know in my last online joy shop, I called it, we did a sound with the ah. So we hummed it. I mean, there was a lot more. It was multisensory. We hummed it and sent that energy, loving energy from the heart all the way down into the pelvic region. And there was something distinct about that ah and the humming and the way, we did it all, and the visualization that literally was shedding and releasing energy and trauma. So there's tremendous power in conscious breathing, chanting, the voice. Okay, using your voice. If you're not using it, you lose it. You don't use it, you lose it. So there's a great opportunity to be silent when you're meant to be silent and just to listen. And there's a great opportunity to just use that voice in the most joyful way that you can, in the most authentic way that you choose. So what else do we have here? Also, let's see. Oh, let me get back to the chanting. Chanting every single word sound, and that includes the intention behind it, carries sacred codes. And they have the ability to activate. They have the ability to heal. They have the ability to resonate in different ways and to connect. So very, very powerful. And I call it, there's certain words that I call potency words. For example, words like sacred, priestess. There's a reason I call myself a high priestess, because I am, and not a life coach. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a coach. I am a high priestess. I am the goddess activator. Potency in words, because just calling myself that allows me to be able to access sacred coding and then to share that for anyone who shows up within the resonance of my sacred space, whether it's online within a woman's circle, or it's here right now, or just walking down the street and we exchanging a little meet and greet. Okay, very powerful stuff. Humming. There are in Sanskrit or in yoga, there is something called Bijas. Okay, each main chakra, because there are many chakras. Okay, this of the seven main chakras have a bija, which is known as a stem. Excuse me, a seed. It's a seed, a frequency associated with each of the main chakras. Like, for example, the sacral chakra is Vam, Vam, Vam. And there's actually a mudra or a hand sacred geometry with the hands that you can utilize to actually balance and center and harmonize that sex center. Okay. For example, the throat, it is hum, hum. So, like I said, I'm not diving deep into those today. Yet the frequency helps again to harmonize those center. So you can do it through all of the chakras. So the power of sound. They're called seeds because of the foundation. Okay. And also silent sound. Affirmations. Speaking affirmations. I am. I create. I align. I cultivate. I am all that I am. These are powerful words of potency that, when spoken, speak life in a frequency that supports your overall well being. It's the power of the spoken word. And in fact, it's a lot of what I learned about and included in my second book, which again, I'm going to offer to you as a free PDF. Prayer. Prayer is powerful. I wake up in the morning and I have 4 particular prayers that I offer up to God. I don't like the word Lord, so I changed that out. Prayers of support and guidance and love and protection that I offer up, okay, to God. I've already mentioned singing, okay? So all the beautiful ways that you can stimulate that vagus nerve, increase that vagal tone, and improve the connection between the throat chakra and the sex center. Remember, it's all about creativity, yet creativity needs expression. And excuse me, the expression is through the voice. Oh, excuse me. That's a burp. That's a beautiful release of energy. So something's working well here. So excuse me for that. But hey, it is what it is. I don't have it. Don't have the team. We're just going to let it go. Ah, okay. So yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. So what have I got for you? What I have realized is that a lot of women and men, anyone who's experienced sexual trauma, and especially women, though, because we've been in this patriarchal system that we are, of course, transmuting, women's voices have been suppressed. And so, especially for a woman, and then for a woman who's experienced sexual trauma, being able to share her voice and then to be able to share her authentic voice, can be a little scary, can be very, very scary. And I'm going to share a little bit why, and then I'm going to move along, I promise, because of the trauma. And I may do another one on that because fear comes up so much. I know for me, the part of me, the more I speak up and the more I share my story, there is something that I'm working through does that put not just me, I'm not afraid of me being in danger. I'm not in danger. I know I am well protected. Trust me, I've been through it all already. I'm good to go. I've been stalked, threatened, monitored, you name it. I'm good to go. And I laugh but it's not funny. Okay? Because some of you I know are still deep in that and it's not fun. Okay? So for me, it's my family. I moved out of state at one point because I feared for the safety of my children. So that's a real thing. So for me, it's moving beyond that. So I've definitely had some voice upgrades. I've done some recent voice medicine, and I'm about to release another song. And so I was like, I got to get my voice good to go, good to go, good to go, good to go, good to go. Okay. So number one, there's that book that I wrote, Kick-Ass Happyness. Okay. And I'm telling you, I just looked through that. It's a great, easy read. It's a fun read because I put a lot of flavorful language in there, and you can see my authentic voice coming through, and my rhyming and my alliteration and the metaphors and just the information. It's a codex. It's a powerful codex that can activate your own ability to be more authentic. The throat chakra, the sex center. Trust me, take advantage. It's free. Okay, it's my time and energy that I'm sharing with you. Number two is that I was divinely guided about 3 weeks ago to offer an online Sister Starseed sharing circle. Caps out at 12, where every week for just $9.99 a session, you can show up with other women who share the same trauma and just share. We also take time to reconnect to the body to help to increase the intuition, to help to create more calm in the body, and I'm going to tell you, this last one was powerful because women showed up and they were sharing their trauma for the first time, and perhaps in a way they hadn't shared before, with others who heard, and they felt heard, witnessed, and validated, and didn't feel shame about it. They felt supported. They felt supported. And so that's every week on Tuesday at 11:33 a.m. PDT time, Los Angeles, California time. That's a beautiful offer for that price investment. So that link is going to go there in there as well. And the third thing I'd like to speak about, I know I wrote this down. Besides the song release, I've got an 8-week program coming up that's going to be juicy, juicy, shot key. Before I share that, I have a song release coming up. I'll be recording that in the studio tomorrow. I'm really excited about it because it's literally about, it's expressing my upgrade in my tonality, upgrade in my throat chakra, and it's called Lavender Lotus. I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be on Spotify and a number of other platforms, and it speaks life into divine partnership, divine love, total bliss. And no matter where you are in your life, in partnership or not, or coming into partnership, it just relationship with yourself and with a God energy. I'm going to tell you, you can pre-save that song. So that's going to be another opportunity. There's no link for that just yet, but be on the lookout for that one. And finally, the last opportunity, divine guidance brought down, divinely downloaded, was an 8-week miracle course, is what I call it, is because I've been guided to share something known as Undress Your Sacred Sexuality, so that you can, what is the word I wanted? I forget the name of it. You're basically experiencing for accessing full body Shakti. Full body, not just the sex center. We're going full body and having you literally tap back in and kind of open up that body so that you can prepare it for even further healing and more of the ability to reclaim your true power and your sacred sexuality. So it's a very powerful course that takes a deep dive into the central nature of all of your chakras. And trust me, there's going to be chanting, conscious breathing, movement, touch, fun stuff, a little bit of play in every way if you really want to know. So I'm going to drop that in there. There is an early bird special until November 28th, good to go. And I will likely offer another online joy class before then, probably November, mid-November. I'm going to get that out there for you as well, to address the mother wound, which and to bring back that heart womb connection and address the great goddess, mother goddess. And that's the true wound that everybody is looking to heal at the deepest levels right now. So that's a lot. Good to go. If you stayed, good for you, because it's a lot of opportunities for you to continue to elevate in your own personal evolution. You have a beautiful day. There it is. Let's upgrade that throat chakra and really connect that in the most beautiful way with your sacral chakra. Much love. I love you so much.